Howdy chaps, I thought I'd try something a little bit different this time. I've been just looking through my old photos. I'm going to actually do a little bit of a narration and a little slideshow of all the cars I've been stupidly enough to have purchased and built. Some of them were cars I bought for parts, some of them were projects, some of them made it, some of them didn't. I think it's something like 72 cars or something. Some of them were bought solely for wrecking, but I still consider them a car I've owned. A lot of them were good, a lot of them were cheap, and some of them are like what I did and what I did to them. I don't have great photos of every car, but I thought you might want to see some of the cars I've had. Bit more of an insight into me and the taste of vehicles I've had, and it's quite a large and wide variety of vehicles. Not just a Ford person. I've had Holdens and had a Pontiac in there and a few things, so you know, I thought, yeah, this might be a bit different, and you might enjoy it. It's just a slideshow and I'll just overdub it in a second and enjoy. First cab off the rank is an EJ Holden, my first car, $300. That's the actual car, fixed up and drove around. This is an N14 Triple S Pulsar, the Japanese spec version. Really cool car. It's on 3 wheels and Malar. This is a car I bought cheap. It was $250. XC Falcon, mint green. FE Holden. I actually quite like the car. Paid $900 for it. Let's see what's next. EH Holden. That had a 179 bucket seats. I think I ended up trading that for something else. My F100, I loved that thing. I actually never got it on the road, but I loved it so. My another EJ, that was an all original unrestored one. That was all in its factory paint, never been played with. First coupe I ever had, XC Fairmont, I think. Rust bucket. Another XB. This one was a good one. That car ended up being V8ified and 4-speed. XA Ute, that thing was awesome. A project that never quite made it. That's the other EJ. That's the night I found it. Sorry, some of these photos are doubled. XD Falcon, factory silver, S-Pack. That was also a good car. ZH Fairlane, one of several I had. That was alright, tidy. XB Fairmont GS, that was a project that never quite got off the ground, but it was a good start. That was $700. I got given this XB panel van as a parts car. I chopped it up eventually. EB and one of many XF panel vans. That EB was quite a fun car when it was finished. Another Triple S Pulsar, that's an N15. Ironically slower than the one I had prior. FE LTD, also a brilliant car, paid $250 for that, drove it forever. That's the panel van from the other photo. When I found it, it was in a wrecking yard. I saved it. An XR Falcon. I think I swapped a couple of cars for that and another one. You'll see the photo later on. Parts car XC, I paid virtually nothing for, but it was lots of goodies in that. Me at 21 in my XB coupe, my first coupe I finished. Another XC coupe. Another project that didn't quite make it off the ground. The XT or XR, I think the other one was an XT and this is an XR, they were a pair. My NC Fairlane Sportsman, quite a good car. It was a 6-cylinder, not a V8, unfortunately. XB GS sedan, I think that ended up getting chopped up actually because it was super rusty despite how it looked. Oh, that's the EB when I was finished with it. Had an AU motor and EA 5-speed and was a weapon. XA wagon, that currently is for sale I think somewhere for stupid money, but it was a rusty pile of junk. Another XB sedan I paid $400 for, also turned out I abandoned it due to excessive rust. The EA Falcon that donated its gearbox, that was quite a good car, factory manual. XE Fairmont gear, I parted it out because it was a factory V8 car. You know, they're worth nothing at the time. I think it's a ZK Fairlane. I think I paid $250 for it. An XF van that I paid $300 for, and then ended up. And the next photo you should see, it should have an XD front on it. Yep, that's what it looked like when I was finished with it. Yeah, there's the F100 just before I sold it. I kicked myself for that one. Back when these cars are worth nothing. One of a few of these body shape Fairlanes I had. It's an NF Fairlane. Very cool. There's my 66 Pontiac Parisian. I ended up restoring that one in the... There it is, finished. Looked beautiful. The guy who got that car loved the snot out of it. VK Calais V8 sedan I had. Didn't do anything with it. There's the first write-off. My parents ended up buying that car off me. Still going to this day. Back when you could buy an ED Falcon in mint condition for $700. This XC, this ended up going to Florida of all places. I think it might even be in Texas now. Not even joking. My VX SS Commodore, best car I ever had, I reckon, one of them. It got rear-ended in the end. Nothing like $700 of EF wagon goodness. That was a brilliant car. AUs, what a pile of junk that thing turned out to be. But it was a Rebel. It was one of the rare ones. VYSS Ute with 1,000,000 Ks on it. Looked good, but drove like garbage. My VT wagon, one of my most reliable cars I ever had. What's next? My EL XR8. Slow as a wet week. I don't think much of those Windsors at all. The Project EJ, when I found it, yeah, that's been chopped up. That was too rusty, as you well know. First car I ever bought brand new, 2017 Mustang. Turned out to be the biggest pile of junk of many that I owned. Another failed project, Tango Orange XB sedan. Never quite got off the ground. Parts car EJ that I got from the same wrecking yard the other one came from. That ended up being chopped up, but it was totally stuffed. My Turbo Territory I bought for $5,000, I think. Worth heaps now. $250 EL. I actually ended up buying that car twice because I bought it, sold it, tied it up, sold it, and bought it back. And defected AU. Fairmont, destroyed in the paddock. And EB XR8 factory manual. I turned into a rally car for a while there. I think it ended up getting turned back into a car and sold. The BF Fairmont Mark III. Brilliant car. Just didn't like the gas on it. Got given this DF LTD by my brother. I think I sold it for $300. Somebody lowballed me, and I just wanted it gone. The Mustang that I was replaced with from the other one, I got given a 2019, which is what that is, because the other one was a warranty claim. So there it is when I was done with it before I sold it. The XY Ute that I sold and has been resold since then. The last XF I had was actually a very, very good car, and it was an ex-police car as well. My last write-off I did prior to the Commodore currently, that actually blitzed through Regency, no worries. And that was a brilliant car. The XA Superbird, this is why I'm XA Coupe Guy. I owned that. And Project XB. Poor, sort of part way through being finished. Okay. Well, I hope you liked that. That was a little foray into some of the cars I've had. Some of the cars are missing. There was another gold Fairlane in there that I had. And because I was trying to talk really quickly on like only 7 seconds of each time the car went through, I was trying to give like a brief history in like no time at all. So I tried my best. Some of the car names I might have got wrong, but there's been so many. I do forget some of the cars, where they came from, what happened to them. Once you hit a certain number of cars, you do really struggle to remember them all. There's some that sit above others, like the Pontiac. I loved that thing. I think I ended up selling it because I had some emotional issues with it, because it was actually the wedding car from my last marriage. So I sort of wanted to shift it on and didn't feel comfortable owning it anymore, so personal reasons for selling that. The EL XR8, didn't like that car. That was auto. It was beautiful condition. It was so slow, absolutely slow. I had a drag race with a mate who had an AU Fairmont V8, and the cars were identical in speed. I could not believe it. So it just was just so slow. Looked amazing, but just gutless. I was like, what the? My VXSS, stunning car. If you compare an AU XR8 to a VXSS, the VXSS will wipe the floor with that AU every day of the week. Not to mention they drive about 10 times better. And the AU was a super low K car. It actually originated as a pace car for the V8 supercars in the early 2000s. So when I got it, it had the full kit on it, as in supercar kit. And my mate with the AU, currently with the Glen Seaton paint job, that's the body kit off that car. And I hated it. I couldn't drive it everywhere. People looked at you like you're a moron or something like that. So I took it off, and it was a factory. It was a Series 2 220, and they only made them the 220s at the tail end of Series 2, and they were all Rebels. So they had the Rebel body kit and a few things like that, and they were all sold with like a PlayStation 2 with Gran Turismo or something like that. I'm sure an AU specialist out there will say I'm wrong, but as far as my knowledge takes me, that was what they were. So yeah, some of the coupes made it, some of them didn't. The red coupe I had at 21, first coupe I ever managed to finish. Mind you, I did all this I wasn't actually employed. I was just tinkering, and if I'd get a car and I'd want another car, I'd have to sell the one I had to get it, and so on and so forth. And I did most of that with no trade certificate and nothing. So, and I usually used to buy them when they were just stripped out shells and then build them up using parts cars and things. So they were cheap. They were cheap back then. You could get a coupe shell for like $1,500. They weren't beyond reach now. And some cars were good, some cars were bad. Ironically, not the cars that you wouldn't expect were good were actually really, really good. But before I ramble too long, I hope you enjoyed this little foray into me and my cars and whatnot. And eventually I'll figure out how to do a live feed and do that, because I think that would be quite interesting to talk to you guys direct. So I'll catch you on the next one. We'll probably get back to the XW. Get some videos rolling on that one, because you guys seem to like that. And so thank you for watching.